Thanks, Mr. Chairman, and thanks for returning to this important subject after your first hearing on the 50th anniversary of the quake in Alaska. I won't repeat what my colleague from California said, but it's pretty darn pathetic when countries like Romania, Mexico, and now Mongolia are doing more to protect their citizens and severe damage in the case of an earthquake than the United States of America. Oh, I know, we're broke, we can't afford it, we can't afford $30 billion. Come on. You're going to save lives and avoid a heck of a lot more in terms of costs for rebuilding that'll be paid for by borrowed money through FEMA if we invest in the system. We need two systems on the West Coast. We need a system that's land-based, which is, as has been described earlier, capable of giving an early warning. Now, in the case of the Northwest, they estimate that the quake will start southerly and move north. That could mean the people in Portland might have 2 or 3 minutes warning to shut down the MAX system, to shut down critical manufacturing, to get people to safe places. That's a lot of time if you have a system, and if it goes to people's cell phones, and if it goes to other alert systems, and if it's automated to close the bridges and get people off the bridges, because we have some, particularly one I-5 bridge, which is going to go when we have a big quake. And then after we get the land-based system, which would cost, $30, $40 million, that's as much money as the federal government spends in what, 10 minutes? But we can't afford it with this dysfunctional Congress. Then we need to focus on a seabed system, which will have multiple uses, but the most important of which will be potential early detection. Now, they found out in Japan that they had seismometers on the ocean floor, but they weren't connected. They weren't real time. But when they retrieved them after the extraordinary earthquake, they had a 7, then a few days later, the major quake, they found that there was a lot of slow slip earthquake activity going on. So you could essentially, with a sophisticated offshore system, have something like Homeland Security uses, and I don't even know what colors they use anymore. I used to be in that committee. But the point is, everything's great, it's green. It would never be green because we could have a very quick, sharp shake in the West with these particular faults. But it would be sort of a normal day-to-day, observe normal procedures. But if we had this ocean-based system, we'd say, wow, there's some really pretty big slow slip activity and other stuff going on here, which now we don't know about, and move it up to a yellow or something like that and say, people should be ready over the next few days for a quick warning. You might even have some very critical infrastructure in Japan. Had they known that, they might have shut down some of those nuclear plants and not had the catastrophe they had. So if we had that system, we could potentially save phenomenal assets and lives. That would be very expensive. That would be as much money as the Pentagon spends in 12 hours. Whew, we can't afford that, can we? In order to prevent the saving of, to provide for the saving of thousands of lives, tens of billions of dollars in damage, we can't afford 12 hours spending at the Pentagon around here. This is beyond the point of absurdity. It's becoming essentially negligent to the point of being criminal. These systems exist. The technology exists. We just don't have the will to put them out there. Now, just recommend one last thing to people. There's a great video. You can see it on YouTube. And it was in a television studio in Mexico. Now, this is a land-based system. And it's a guy, an announcer on TV, just doing the evening news, and all of a sudden he starts talking really fast, and lights start flashing, and like alarms are going off, and you go, wow, I wonder what this is. But he just keeps talking. He's talking faster and faster. My Spanish isn't very good. I couldn't follow it very well. But what he was doing was he was telling people, there has been an earthquake. You have time. Get to a safe place now. And it goes on. He's talking for a long time. You watch him, you go, wow. Gee, I guess he's not where the earthquake is. No, about a minute to, I think a minute and 15 seconds later, suddenly everything in the studio starts falling down and the earth, you can see that's pretty darn dramatic, what just a land-based system would do, let alone a sea-based system, and the potential for averting catastrophe. With that, Mr. Chairman, I look forward to hearing from these witnesses, and like Mr. Lowenthal, I don't blame USGS. Their budget is totally inadequate, and it's up to the Congress and the President to get this done.